podcast for accounting firm growth. I'm your host, Angie Grissom. Today, I'm excited to dive into making employee experience a strategic priority. Here with us today is Cheryl Foster. Cheryl is the Chief Growth Officer for HCVT, where she leads the development and implementation of the firm's growth strategy. Cheryl began her professional services marketing career at Brown Smith Wallace, a former Midwest based top 100 firm. As Director of Practice Growth, she led the firm's growth marketing strategy and business development support function to drive revenue growth and enhance the reputation of the firm. Cheryl, thank you so much for coming on the show today. Let's jump right in.
Hi, Angie, and thank you so much for having me.
We are so excited to talk with you. Well, Cheryl, we've seen an increase in growth professionals in firms across public accounting. What do you attribute this evolution to?
Well, I really think that the growth function better positions what we would traditionally call, marketing professionals in professional services firms. I think historically, um, in firms, marketing has been seen as a cost center. If you're not billable, you're not really adding real value to the firm. And I think a lot of that comes from a lack of understanding of what marketing is and the value it really does bring to the firm. But I think that mindset has been driven by, I think, marketing teams lacking strategy, not making data-driven decisions. And, that certainly doesn't help the cause of the marketing team. So I think that the rise in growth professionals, it's an integration of marketing and business development, client experience and strategy, all of those disciplines coming together. And it's really helped to elevate, I think, the traditional marketing professional in the eyes of firm leadership, because leadership, they value strategy, they value business development and client experience. That's the revenue engine for the firm, and that's what firms are here for. They're here to be profitable businesses. And then the marketing piece is a critical aspect of that, to make that all work and really add value to firms.
I agree, Cheryl. I am seeing a trend moving towards involving more people at the table for strategy, which is long overdue. More firm leaders are looking to their teams to help with so many different areas, which is great. It's really good news. It's such a competitive, profession everywhere. Historically, employee experience is an area that has been within the previous, I guess, bucket of HR. How were you able to convince firm leadership that you needed to hire someone to support employee initiatives within the growth team?
Well, first of all, I do want to say that at HCVT, employee experience is a team sport. It's a collaborative effort. So the talent group and the human resources team, along with growth, are collaborating to bring this employee experience strategy to the firm. And so, just based on my experience, though, in professional services, um, there aren't very many things, even if marketing or growth wasn't invited to the table at the beginning of the process. At some point along the line, people recognize that they need to have a growth professional at the table to really bring these initiatives to life. It's, marketers are stewards of the brand.
Yeah.
We are the voice of the customer, and in this case, the voice of the employee and the voice of the recruiting, the people that we're recruiting. And we're communicators. And so it's important to, when we are responsible for, developing branding and messaging and communicating all of these things, you realize pretty quickly how important it is to have someone with those skill sets involved in bringing these strategies to life. So that's how I was able to sell in having this role in the growth team. It's the number one challenge, not only at our firm, but also in the industry, recruiting talent, retaining that talent. So the firm absolutely saw the value in having a resource that was focused on helping to advance the firm's strategy. We're assessing the current state of our employee experience and how it needs to evolve in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic. So there's a lot of discussion underway about the employee experience and how we need to pivot and enhance what we're doing to make sure that we're meeting the needs of our employees and become the destination employer that we want to be.
Uh, Such great points. I can't tell you one conversation I've had in the past, gosh, 6 months with firm leaders that has not involved the discussion over talent shortage and capacity issues. And it's so critically important. Firm leaders are looking not only to recruit top talent, but they're really trying to retain top talent. And it feels like it's a moving target from the hybrid workforce shift just to the changing needs of clients. Every firm is grappling with it. What do you think should go into an employee experience strategy at a high level? A lot of people just wonder, what is that? What should be involved in that? What are your thoughts?
Well, I think the foundation for any great strategy is a discovery phase, which means research. Finding out, what your employees how they feel about the firm, what's important to them, how satisfied are they with their experience? Do they have challenging client work? Do they get enough high quality training? Are there opportunities for advancement? How do they feel about the culture? So just, understanding, where is your firm today with the employee base? How do they feel about it? And then I think looking at how you stack up against your competition. Not only do we compete with firms for clients, we compete with the same firms for talent. So,
Absolutely.
what are we doing that differentiates our firm in the employer space? What are other firms doing? Are there opportunities that we're missing? How can we improve? And where can we lead and stand out? And I think once your research is completed, you can put together a SWOT analysis. Figure out where are you strong. What are your weaknesses? What are the opportunities? What are those threats? And then set your goals, and then you build your tactical plan around that.
I love that. I had the pleasure of interviewing three up and coming superstars at one of our client offices earlier this week. And we sat down over dinner and just asked the questions. What would you do? What would be the first thing you would change if you were the managing partner of the firm? What are the things that are holding you back? What works really well here? What makes you want to stay? What brought you to this firm? What are your biggest challenges, your things that you're the most proud of, all of those things. And I've got to tell you, Cheryl, it was one of the most enlightening conversations I've had in months. And a lot of the assumptions that we have about how young talent feel about certain things is wrong. And I was actually really encouraged to hear some of the insights and the feedback from them on the things that make them want to stay, their experience and the ability to be involved in a niche or a niche that they have passion around. And they
Yes.
were talking about how they wish in college that their professors had told them that they could focus in different areas in accounting where they had passion that, and they said that that would really have helped with more people going into the profession.
That's so true. And I think so often the easiest thing for us to do is to ask a question, to find out directly from the group that we want to learn more about. We hear it a lot in the client service space. Just you ask your client, ask them what they think, ask them what their challenges are, ask them what their needs are. And the same holds true for our employees and our firms. Ask them directly, what do they need? What do they want? What motivates them? And frequently, and to your point, you'd be surprised to hear what they have to
Yeah.
say.
And we were hearing things like, I would love to be at the table with clients so I can learn how to communicate with them. I would love to be on prospect calls. I would love to be at the table to talk about strategy, things like that.
Yes.
So, Cheryl, this has been such a great conversation. I'm looking forward to diving right back in after this brief word from the Association for Accounting Marketing.
Whether part of a team or a department of one, individuals responsible for growth in the accounting profession join AIM to advance their careers and contribute at a high level to their firm's success. Members of AIM receive access to resources to help in their job and establish their reputation as a skilled professional, a network of peers who face the same industry challenges and can offer solutions, and a wide range of professional development and networking opportunities. Join AIM today. To learn more, visit the website at accountingmarketing.org. Again, that's accountingmarketing.org.
All right, welcome back.
Right.
Cheryl, it's no secret that marketing professionals aren't always included in, strategic firm discussions, and so many things are changing in terms of trends in the profession. Why do you think that growth and marketing professionals sometimes have a difficult time, not always, but sometimes have a difficult time getting a seat at the table? And tell me about what's your experience been like?
So again, I think this is really rooted in how marketers and growth professionals have been perceived in firms over time, as being cost centers, making things pretty. That's, oh, whenever I hear people say that we get a request like, oh, can you make this pretty? It's, again, it just goes to that education that needs to occur. I think that um, CPAs need to be educated on the value that growth professionals bring to a firm, the value of marketing and how it can help to differentiate, and not only help bring in business, but also to bring in recruits. Um, it's an important aspect of what makes a firm successful. And I don't think that that's always recognized and valued. And so, what I have found in my career that has helped is to educate and to continuously find ways to illustrate the value. It's about building business cases um, based on data, understanding what the firm's goals are, what is the firm's strategy, what's important to the firm, and how can the growth team help the firm achieve those goals. Um, Illustrate an understanding of the business. And I mean, really just show that growth is aligned with the firm and where the firm wants to go.
Love that. I actually wrote an article this week for AIM called The Value of Including Marketing and BD Professionals in Strategic Planning. And it's incredible to me how overlooked sometimes the skill sets in terms of creativity, communication, strategy, research, data, benchmarking, that those things are overlooked, and they're so critically important when you work to put together a strategy. And so it's such a great opportunity. So exciting, such a great opportunity.
Very true.
So, any final thoughts around this topic? Maybe why should managing partners confide in their growth professionals?
Day, I mean, the growth professionals, they're part of the team and they want the firm to be successful. Growth professionals bring a different perspective, different skills and experience to the table. And I think, like you were saying, I'm sure I haven't had the opportunity to read your article yet, but I'm going to. And I bet you talk about how that different perspective, we talk about diverse perspectives and how they make teams stronger. And I can't think of another environment where, you have such divergent skill sets. Most traditional marketers and growth professionals are very, very different from the CPAs that they work with. And having that perspective of the person that is the steward of the brand, champions of the client, the growth team has an internal view of the firm and also is always looking outside of the firm's walls to evaluate opportunities and threats. You want to have that voice at the table. It's not something that the CPAs are always going to have their fingers on, and the growth professionals are able to really help to round out and build a strategy that is going to position the firm for ongoing success.
That's perfectly said, and I could not agree more. Cheryl, it has been great chatting with you today. You've really provided some incredible insight for everyone. So, how can our audience best get in touch with you or find out more about you and your work?
Well, the best way to find me is on LinkedIn. So again, just look me up, Cheryl Foster at HCVT, and that's the best way to connect with me.
Love it. Thank you, Cheryl, so much. Well, this is another episode of Amplify, the podcast for accounting firm growth. Thank you so much for listening in. Let us know what you think about this episode on Apple Podcast or wherever you get your podcast. We'd really appreciate it. And if you want to find out more about Amplify and all of our episodes, head over to accountingmarketing.org. You'll find the podcast under publications. If you'd like to find out more about me and my company, the Rainmaker Companies, head over to therainmakercompanies.com or email me at Angie at therainmakercompanies.com. See you next time.